Hello everybody and welcome to the next session. In our last two sessions, we have seen various steps and stages of research process. Today, let us discuss one more step, that is how to formulate the research hypothesis. Let us define what is hypothesis. Now, hypothesis is a statement about the population which is believed to be true. Now, statistical tests are conducted to verify the statement. Now, this complete process of testing is called testing of hypothesis. Hypothesis testing is founded in probability theory, which is a part of the inferential statistics. Since hypothesis is based on probability, so there are different concepts of probabilities that are being used. For instance, probability distributions like normal distributions, chi-square distributions, p-value, alpha value, all these are concepts from probability which are used in hypothesis. In theory, hypotheses are always employed in parts, in pairs, which means there are two parts of the hypothesis. The first part is known as null hypothesis and the second part is known as alternative hypothesis. Null hypothesis is a statement of void which also depicts the status quo, whereas the alternative hypothesis is just the negation of the null hypothesis. It is the null hypothesis which gets tested in the testing of hypothesis. Researcher gathers the data to support the alternative hypothesis. Once the data is collected, an appropriate statistical test is conducted within the set of assumptions and conditions. Some of the tests that are being conducted on hypothesis are t-test, z-test, f-test, test of causality, test of dependence, test of association, test of correlation and etc., etc. Once a test is being conducted, then comes the conclusion. The conclusion is usually taken by comparing two values, one is alpha value and the second one is p value, both are again based on probability, and the conclusion is taken whether to accept the null hypothesis or reject the null hypothesis. There is one more concept of probability which is known as confidence interval. Now, confidence interval and hypothesis are interconnected concepts. Regardless of the confidence interval, the analysis of error is also associated with the testing of hypothesis. Now, in statistics, there are two types of errors and the nomenclature are type 1 error and type 2 errors. Both are in form of probability. Type 1 error is the probability of rejecting a true null hypothesis and type 2 error is the probability of accepting the false null hypothesis. Now, hypothesis testing can be done for one sample, two samples or more than two samples, depending upon whether the researcher is actually using univariate, bivariate or multivariate statistical tests. Nowadays, there are many softwares that are available. For instance, SPSS is one of them. We can also use Excel, we can use Minitab and there are other softwares also. Now, when you use these softwares for the statistical tests or statistical analysis or for testing of hypothesis, lot of rigorous calculations can be escaped. We can do it very easily. With that, we conclude the session. See you in the next week. Thank you.